Hi, welcome to my channel, See Mary Make, and today I'm going to go over some basics for wrapping presents. Now, of course, I'm doing Christmas presents because it's that time of year, but these little techniques, I guess you could call them, can be used for any type of gifts throughout the year. So I'm starting by rolling out my paper, and I'm going to set my gift box on top of it. And yes, my box is very squished because my 4-year-old decided it was a good idea to jump on top of it. So now I'm just wrapping the paper around the box to make sure it meets up with the edge, and I'm going to cut that piece out. So after that, I'm going to make sure my box is good and centered in the paper. The paper is the direction it needs to be because this paper is directional. And isn't it so cute? These little red trucks. I got this paper at Dollar General this year, and it's actually like really good quality. It's pretty thick. So then here I flipped to where the side of the box, I guess the front of it, the top of it is on the bottom. That way that part will be face up when it's under the tree. So now I just folded my paper in onto the back of the box, or the bottom of the box, into the middle, and I taped it down with about 3 small pieces of tape. And now I'm going to pull the paper tight, and then I'm going to use my fingers, my hands, to run creases down the edges. This comes out a lot better when your box isn't crushed, but mine was, but I still needed to wrap it anyway, so I used it. Has my husband's, one of my husband's gifts in it. So now I'm just pulling the paper over to meet the side that's taped down already. And I am folding the edge under because I cannot stand it when there are like just a raw edge taped down on a piece of, or on a present. I feel like it gets snagged on stuff a lot easier that way and tears easier. If it's folded over, it's got double the strength on that edge. And so I'm just going to put a few pieces of small tape all the way along the edge of the present there. And I'm also going to just keep creasing the edges of the box where the paper on the paper as I go, which is what I'm doing now here. Making sure it's nice and flat, creasing it. And now I'm going to turn it over and start to do the side of it. And I was pointing at this big dent on that other side that I put that where it's extremely noticeable, but I'm going to cover it with ribbon and you can hardly tell it's there afterwards. So here I am. I'm just going to fold in each side on the edge of the box, the side of the box. And when I fold them in, I'm going to fold it until it's all the way touching and crease the upper edge and the lower edge to kind of make like a triangle shape on both the top and bottom. And so I'm going to do that on both sides. Fold it in, pull it tight, crease the edge of the box, now crease the paper. You can see I was holding it down as I do that, and now it's like little triangles. And I'm going to tape that down. And then I'm going to fold the bottom up, and it hangs over just a little bit, so I'm going to fold that down too. You could trim it off if you want to, but like I said, I don't like raw edges on my presents. I prefer it to be a folded edge. So I folded that under. I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to tape it down really good. And I'm doing the same thing with the top. I'm pulling it downward. I'm creasing the top edge on the box, and I'm also going to fold this. Instead of folding it under, I'm going to put it underneath the box because it reaches underneath the box. If it didn't, I would just fold the edge down and tape it down that way. But I had enough papers, or enough of the paper to fold it under, all the way underneath the box. So now I'm just opening up some wired ribbon that I bought at the Dollar Tree for $1, of course. And I've got this other ribbon here that I bought last year at Dollar General. I think it was like $2 or $3 for the roll. And I bought several rolls of it because last year I put this on my tree. This year I'm using it for other stuff because I did something different on my tree this year. So I'm just seeing how much I need, whether I like it or not, how I want to position it. And what I'm really trying to do, which yes, this is decorative, but I'm also trying to cover up that huge dent. So now what I'm doing is I'm rolling up some pieces of tape with the sticky part on the outside. See, I'm going to do it here. You just kind of fold it over and sticking it under the ribbon to hold it down on the front, so I don't have tape along the edges of it, because that's going to be really noticeable, especially since my tape is a shiny glossy tape and this paper is matte. Normally I would use matte tape for this kind of paper, but I can't find mine. I know I have it somewhere, but the kids probably did something with it. So now I'm on the back here and I'm just folding, or I'm just pulling them over to where they barely overlap each side of the ribbon and taping them down. Now, instead of taping it directly to the other piece of ribbon, I'm going to tape it on the side so that it grips well to the paper, because Scotch tape doesn't always hold the best on a fabric type of material. So I figured it'd be more secure if I did it fabric to paper instead of fabric to fabric. And now I'm taking the Dollar Tree red wired ribbon, which is sheer in the middle, and I'm like halfway overlapping the plaid ribbon I put down. And I did not put any tape underneath this one because it is sheer, so I'm only taping it like on the back, and that's it. So here I'm doing the same thing. I'm making sure to tape it to the paper. And I didn't feel so bad not securing this ribbon, because once I pull it tight, I can bend the corners and it's got a wired edge, so it's going to stay in place better than the other ribbon. It's actually a really pretty ribbon. Dollar Tree has great ribbon if you can get it before it's sold out, because I don't know about other Dollar Trees, but the two I have in my area, they haven't restocked any of that stuff since it's sold. There's a lot of Christmas things that I wanted to get for crafts and decorations, and I couldn't get my hands on them because they were just sold out as soon as they hit the shelves. So here I am, I'm taping the last piece of the ribbon down, and I'm going to flip the box back over, crease my ribbon there, the wired ribbon, and next I'm going to make a bow to go on it. And I did more of like a traditional bow, not like a gift bow, not like the one that's on the little lighted present sitting next to me, just like a traditional bow. And what I'm doing is I'm just deciding how much fabric I'm going to use, which I really didn't do much deciding. I just cut a random length, and then I held the other ribbon with it and cut that one out too. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it in half, so I can find the center and put as much of a crease as I can with my hand. And that's going to just help me keep my bow even on both sides. So now, which you can't really see it, all I'm doing is I'm folding both sides underneath of the center. I just folded them over. You can see pretty well what it looks like here. And I'm just going to pinch them in the middle where that crease is, where I folded it in half. And I'm just going to take this piece of gold cording that came with some of my gift tags, and I'm just going to tie it in a knot right in the center of that and pull it in. Now see, the plaid ribbon is one-sided. The design is only on one side. So now, after I have tied this knot in it, I have to kind of just keep pulling on the ribbon to make sure that it all lays the right way. Because if I would have left it as is, one of these, I don't even know what to call them, free edges hanging at the bottom, would have been turned the wrong way. So I just kept pulling and twisting it until it decided it needed to stay that way. Having the red ribbon on there helped because it is a wired ribbon, so it helps stabilize it and helps hold the that plaid ribbon the same way. And I decided I didn't want it in the center of the box. I liked it better off to the side here. And so all I'm doing now is I'm taking each free edge and I'm going to fold them in half and just clip like a little triangle shape out from the center of the ribbon, the folded part, to the edges, to give it that little shape at the bottom of the ribbon. That little pointed edges. Instead of just having a flat edge on the bottom. I think it looks a lot more decorative to do this than just leave it a straight line. And now that that's done, I'm going to tape on this bow as well with just my regular Scotch tape. I'm not using anything special. I know a lot of people like to use double-sided tape, but I'm not really into that. I like to do it with like less products if I can. So I'm just taping down the bow part. I'm putting a piece of tape coming out of either side of the bow on both sides of the bow. I tried to kind of hide the tape underneath the free hanging ribbons as best I could, because like I said, the bow is shiny and my paper is matte. Now I'm just going to pick out a tag I like, and I love hanging tags. See the little sticker tags I held up? I will use them every now and then on really teeny things, but I don't like to use them. I think a hanging tag is so much more pretty. It just looks more personalized. I like it. I know a lot of people don't really get into the whole wrapping thing. Like they're like, oh, just plain paper and that's it. But I prefer to wrap it. I like having bows and ribbons and fun stuff on top of it. And I'm just cutting a little piece of cording now to go in the tag, because most of them will come with pre-cut pieces you tie on. This set that I bought did not. But I like the appearance of a nice, pretty, decorative, wrapped present under the tree. It's certainly not necessary. I even know people who all they do is they have their kids pick out a certain wrapping paper. Each kid picks a wrapping paper. They'll buy like 2 or 3 rolls of that wrapping paper. And then each kid or family member, all their presents will be wrapped in that paper, and they don't do tags or bows or ribbons, nothing like that. Which I think is great if that's what you like and that's what makes your life easier. So now that I've got my cording on and filled my tag out, I just tied the end of it in a knot, and then I slide a piece of tape into the cord and tape it under the bow, and there you go. There's a finished present. And it hid that dent. So now I'm going to show you a little hack with gift boxes. These small you could do it with any size gift box. If you need a smaller one and you don't have one, all you do is take one and fold it in half, and you meet the edge of the box, one side of the box, all the way to not the other edge of it, but the lip of it. And you should be able to see it pretty well while I'm folding it. You do that on each side. You fold it to meet the lip, open it back up, then fold it the other way to meet the other lip. And it leaves this kind of a spine or kind of binding kind of area there. Then you're going to take your scissors and clip where those folds are just on the lips of the box. Just those 4 little snips there on both sides. And then once I do that, I like to go in and cut along them again at like an angle, making them smaller as you go in towards the center of the box. See right here? Yeah, just cut like the little corner off of each piece you snipped. And I like to do that on both sides. And then once I'm finished with that, I like to fold it inward and just tape it down to the inside of the box to keep it out of the way. And now, once you do that, you can fold it out, and now you have your little smaller box. I love to do these for cookies and stuff sometimes. I'll put some pretty decorative paper in there, and then wrap my cookies in decorative cellophane or decorative little treat bags. Cookies, I think I've done like peppermint bark in here before, and peanut brittle, things like that. Any small gifts can fit in there too. And then I'm going to just show you next with a regular box how I like to put things like if I buy a cloth sort of gift, like gloves and a hat or a scarf or a t-shirt, things like that, and I'm just using the box that I just made as a standing gift because I didn't put real gifts in any of these except that first one I wrapped. And so one thing to do to make it look like prettier when they open it is to put tissue paper inside the box around whatever you're gifting. And I just like to fold it down to the size of the box, the length of the box. And I don't just fold it in half, I just kind of fold it in the center to where the free edges are still sticking out down there. And you just tuck it in, side the bottom of the box, put your gift in, and then fold the paper over the front of the gift. And then you're going to place your lid on. And that's just the way I like to do it. I think it looks nicer when someone opens it up and there's this pretty paper in there instead of just the inside of a plain box. And a lot of people like to tape these closed and stick them under the tree this way. I don't. I prefer to wrap them, even if they're decorative like this one is. But I'm not going to wrap this one because I'm not actually using this under the tree. I am going to use it again in a little while to show you how I like to put ribbon around a package or gift. So now for the next one, you're just going to need a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll. And for this, I used a paper towel roll and I just cut it in half. Now I'm cutting a sheet of, so what I did is I took a sheet of tissue paper and it's folded in threes. I cut off 1/3 of it and laid that in the middle where the paper towel roll was, just to thicken it, because you can see through tissue paper. And then I just started at one end and rolled it all the way up in it to kind of make like a wrapped piece of candy look almost. These types of this wrapping technique using toilet paper or paper towel roll is good for really small items that you otherwise don't know what to do with. It gives them a nice shape and it's cute. And it's also, you can also wrap any cylindrical gift this way. You don't have to try and do weird things. You don't have to put it in a bag if you don't want to. You can do this. I just suggest doing it with tissue paper and doubling up a couple sheets, especially if you're just rolling up a cylindrical gift in it that you can see the label through the paper with just one layer. And then I'm just taking ribbon on either side and I'm going to tie it in a bow. And then I will curl the ends of the ribbon because, oh no, I knotted this one. Yeah, sorry, I knotted it and then curled it. And you just do that by dragging the back side of ribbon along one side of one of the blades on a pair of scissors. It's quite easy and it comes out pretty cute. You can leave it like this and put a small tag on it or a sticker tag. Or you can do what I'm doing here, and this is just to show you that you don't have to leave it with just the tissue paper, that you can still put wrapping paper. I'm just going to cut a small piece of this wrapping paper that I got from the Dollar Tree for it. And next I'm just going to decide which piece I'm going to use, which obviously I wanted to get as much of the actual picture of Jack on it as I could. So I just folded the top edge over, and then I trimmed the other edge, and now I'm going to fold that over too, holding it next to the tube so I can get about the right size. And once I do that, I'm just going to put it on it and tape it on. And then after I put my pieces of tape on it, it's going to be done. This is pretty easy, super easy to do. And it changes it up a little bit. You can use, especially if it's for a kid, you can put their favorite character on it for them, or some really cute paper. Honestly, I don't do this that often. Usually I just leave it with the tissue paper. A lot of times I'll do like a decorative tissue paper, something that's got cute little designs on it. And then I'll put several different pieces of ribbon around the sides so that it's a bunch of little curls there, and that comes out really cute. My youngest daughter, last year something was wrapped that way into the tree, and she's like, "Mom, look, a big candy." It was cute. But there's that. That's done. And now I'm showing you how you can fold the edges in. I can't remember what these are called, but you can buy these usually in like wedding sections for gift box, these little boxes that are folded, they're little cylinder boxes that are folded in on the sides like that. And all I did, as you could see, was literally just push in the side on two sides of it until it folded in on itself. And it pretty much will stay that way. You really don't have to do much to this if you don't want to. The only thing is, because it is, just a toilet paper or paper towel roll, it doesn't look very pretty. If you have like the white toilet paper or paper towel rolls, those look better. But I've been trying not to use, I've been trying to do as little chemical process stuff as I can. So like, even if it's just like non-bleached paper towels, I try to purchase stuff like that. But so yeah, now I'm just doing the same thing as I did with the other one. I'm just getting a little sheet of wrapping paper that's a little smaller than the length of this, and taping it around it. And that's just to make it a little prettier because it is just a plain brown tube. And now I'm going to use some of this twine, just regular brown twine you can get anywhere. I buy it most of the time at the Dollar Tree. I think this roll I bought at Walmart though. And it was in an actual like ball. But my son thought it would be a good idea one day while I was working in the kitchen to unroll the entire thing to play with the cats with. So that was super fun. Then I had to untangle it and find another way to store it. But yeah, so I'm just tying this around it the opposite way that I put the paper, around the length of it, just to make sure it's shut good. And I'm just tying it in a little bow right across the front. And that's it for that. Next, I'm going to show you how to make a bag out of wrapping paper, which is super simple. I think a lot of people know how to do this already. I'm sure I saw it on some video online before, and it was just something I remembered. So all I'm doing is I'm cut out a piece of wrapping paper, and now I'm going to fold it, not in half, but in thirds. And on my back outer edge, I'm going to fold the edge under, because like I said previously, I do not like just raw edges sticking out on my wrapping. I only put 3 small pieces of tape on the back of that because I'm not actually using it for anything. But if you're actually going to put a gift in it, especially something that's got some weight to it, you need to put tape all along the side. So as you just saw, I folded up the bottom edge, and now I'm just kind of pressing it inward from each side to make like a diamond shape. You want to meet in the middle, and once you press it flat completely, you'll have a diamond, and then you just fold the edges into the center and tape them down be generous with the tape because you're trying to hold a gift in this. So don't go stingy on this one because it has to hold weight. It's not just encompassing something like other gifts you wrap. So, and this paper that I'm using is a thicker, sturdier paper. And honestly, making a bag like this is easier with a thinner, cheaper paper because it's more easily manipulated. But so now I just stuck my hand in and opened this up, pressed the bottom out, and now I'm just going to fold over the top. And the way I like to do it is I just like to fold in the edges into the top edge into like a triangle shape and then roll it down a couple times. Honestly, it's the same way I close my chip bags too. And I just put a piece of tape on this. You can also punch a couple holes in the top side by side and run like a ribbon or some twine or cording through it, and that's really pretty to tie it. And next I'm going to show you how I stuff a gift bag, like an actual gift bag that's going to be open. And so first thing I'm going to do is find some tissue paper. And I like to obviously match the tissue paper with the gift bag. I think most people do. And I'm going to take 2 pieces of tissue paper and like offset them from each other to where the corners are sticking past. Lay one like diagonally on top of the other one, and then I'm going to use this spool of ribbon as my fake gift. And I like to set my gift in the center and then wrap it up in the paper and then shove it into the bag gently. You don't want to ruin your paper or rip it or anything. So once it's in, I like to fluff it out to where I can see the present in there. Make sure the paper's pushed up against the edges good. Then I like to take another corresponding colored paper and put it in the top of the bag. And the way I do this, for this one I cut it in smaller pieces because I only had one small piece left of that light blue for some reason. So I'm just cutting the darker blue in half so I can put one on either side of the light blue. But so just grab your paper right in the center of the piece, bunch it up in your hand and just kind of make a little ball in the hand and leave the rest of it sticking out the top like I'm showing there, and just shove the piece you've balled up into the bag and leave the fluffy parts sticking out. And another thing I like to do with gift bags, especially for Christmas, is I like to tie up the handles to the top above the paper with some ribbon. And then I tie it in a bow just because it's going to be easier, especially for a child to get into and without needing scissors and stuff on Christmas morning. Tie it in a bow, then curl your ribbon. Always curl your ribbon ends. Curl your ribbon. And then I also like to add more ribbon to the top, but without actually tying it on. So what I do is I just cut a few random length pieces of ribbon of different colors usually. Sometimes I'll do a bunch of the same color, but I usually like to do like 2 or 3 different colors. And then I curl all those pieces of ribbon. And once I do that, I get them all in my hand together, kind of try and get their centers close to the same spot. And then I just kind of like to tuck them under the handle. And then just like fluff them up and move them around to where they're just hanging in the front. And that's it. If you don't have a tag on the bag, add one up there, a hanging tag up there where the ribbons are. Now I'm going to show you how to make a small gift basket. And this one's just for my daughter, so it's really simple. I'm doing a movie theater themed basket, and all the stuff that I'm putting in this and making this with, I bought every single thing for this at Dollar Tree. So I'm starting with my bucket here, and next I'm going to start moving everything out of the way because I didn't have everything out that I needed. I'm going to use some paper shred and this little popcorn bucket These come in packs of 2 at the Dollar Tree, and what I did is I just shoved a grocery bag in the bottom, and then I'm just putting one little handful of the paper shred on top of it. And that's just to give the candy some height when you set it in there, so it doesn't sink all the way to the bottom and you can't see it. So I just put one of these marshmallow Santas and a couple little chocolate lollipops and then a handful of Sixlets in there. And now I'm going to dump the rest of my paper shred into the bucket and fluff it up a little bit, spread it out. And then I will start by adding in my stuff. And I try, for the most part, to put like the tallest stuff to the back of the basket. I've done a few other baskets for family members in the past. And these are sometimes my favorite gifts to make because, like, even though it's not like crafting or anything, it's not super hard, but it still feels really like personal to get a gift basket and someone say, "Oh yeah, I made this gift basket for you." Because even though they didn't make everything at home, they took their time to pick all these different items and put them together in a pretty way. And I love that. So now I'm putting my movie back here, which I also got at the Dollar Tree. I got everything in this video at the Dollar Tree. Well, not in this basket at the Dollar Tree. And then I'm taking the tops of the bags and I'm going to tape them down on the bags of popcorn, which I'm just setting in front of the movie. I'm going to tape them down because if the shrink wrap that I'm going to use at the end, if it pulls on them, it's going to make the tops look weird, and I didn't want that. So, and I'm also going to tape some of these things in place. I taped the chocolates in the popcorn bucket in place, and I'm taping the popcorn in place, and I think I taped the movie in place too at the end. I'm pretty sure I did. So after you add your 3 bags of popcorn, I'm then going to add the drink and then the candy in front of it, which I just got these little trolley Christmas treats. Not sure which, they're they're trees. Okay, Christmas trees. So after you do that, then I'm going back and taping things. So I don't think I taped everything in place because you never know if you're going to like put something there and like it. So usually you like to set everything up first and then go back and tape if you're sure that's the setup you want. So now I'm using the shrink wrap, which I also bought at the Dollar Tree. This is one of like their best kept secrets. I had no clue they sold this. I think I learned about it like a year ago. And it comes with a bow. The bag is huge. I like to cut them apart and use smaller pieces rather than using the whole bag on something like this. And this one I literally just cut it all the way around the seam, which I don't think I got much footage of just because the camera wasn't set up to see that far back. Because it's actually quite large. I used half of the bag and it's more than generously covers these baskets. So I just cut it, like I said, all the way around the bag on the seam. You can see it a little bit. And once I do that, then I'm going to start taping it on, which I just try to hide the kind of like the edges where there's the edges where they meet and stuff, like under it and behind it. Once I finish cutting it, which apparently is taking me forever. Done. Okay. Once I finish cutting it, I would place the basket down on top of the plastic right at with the edge on the bottom. And then I'm going to wrap it over the top and tuck the edges to the sides and behind as best I can so that it looks really pretty from the front. See, I tipped it over there and everything fell forward. I must not have taped it good. And this stuff is so cool. Like, it's so cool that you can shrink wrap something yourself at your house for $1, as long as you have a hair dryer, which most girls and even I'm sure plenty of guys do too. So you see, that's me making sure it's taped in place good, and it wasn't. So I added another piece of tape, and now I'm going to start actually like tucking this around and trying to tape it in place, because it's like impossible to hold it in place when you cut it apart like this. So I just put literally like, I think like 4 pieces of tape on it. Just like one on the bottom for the first piece, and then, which I don't know if I got recorded. Oh yeah, I'm doing it right now. So there's the bottom, and then I have to tape the sides down too. And I just use, like I said, generally like a couple pieces, like one for each part I tuck. And that's usually about it. And I'm not even like folding these very neatly back. Just trying to make sure I get all the crumpliness behind the project. That way, once you shrink it all from the front, you don't see much of the crumples, and you just see how pretty it looks and how store-made it looks. And typically these baskets do look better if you have like a cohesive color theme. So like last year I did my mom like a spa type of basket, and I did I don't remember what color it was, but I made sure everything was like the same color scheme. It was like a soft blue, I think, because I did a couple different kinds of Epsom salts and like a eye depuffing mask and something else. There's a couple other things in there too, and I did it in a beautiful metal, looked like galvanized metal, but it probably wasn't. But a little metal bucket that I got from Dollar Tree, and it was so pretty. Everything looks so good if you do it the same color scheme. It really looks professionally made, especially after you use some shrink wrap on it. So, and you get to see the cat, because she's very curious. She hears crinkling and thinks I have food, which technically I do, but that's Oko, by the way. So now I'm just going to turn my hairdryer on high heat and start shrinking this down. See, it just goes. And my movie started pulling forward even though I taped it down. But that's okay. Once I get the front to a good like level that I like, then I go ahead and work on the sides and the back. And right now I'm fixing, I didn't like the way that the chocolate wrapper like crumpled forward, so I'm trying to like tuck it back. But and then I'm gonna go in with my blow dryer again on the back and the sides and the bottom. And see, any of the spots that look kind of wrinkly still, you can go over again, and they'll usually shrink up and be good to go. I'm sorry, that was me flipping it over, and I'm gonna vacuum. I'm gonna blow dry the bottom of it. I hope I didn't say that before. I've redone this voiceover so many times because the kids keep interrupting me. I'm not redoing it again. So if I was saying vacuuming at any point, sorry, I meant blow drying. And here's the bow that comes in the bag, and all it is you unfold it, and there's these 2 little ribbons, and you just hold the little plastic piece and pull, and voila, you have a little bow, a cute little bow. Not a perfect bow, but it's really cute. And I'm just going to wrap the bow around this underneath the handles, and I'm just going to knot it in the back. And then I cut off the excess. It's got a lot of string, like a lot of extra ribbon on there. I cannot imagine how big a basket would have to be to actually need the amount of ribbon that comes on these little bows. But, so once I tie it, I'm just going to trim it. I try to fluff the bow a little bit. These bows don't always look the most, like, symmetric. But, I mean, that's okay. They're still cute. It's, I had a lot of problems with this one. I did 3 of these little baskets like this, and I don't know, this bow on this one just gave me a hard time. So I just trimmed the excess ribbon off, and next I'm going to just add a tag to it. I just picked one that I thought would look cute, tying a little knot in it. I've already filled it out, I believe, and I am going to tie a little knot in it, trim off the excess ribbon off the top of the knot. I'm just going to take a little piece of tape and shove it right here. I like to shove it between the 2 pieces of cording ribbon, whatever I have on the hanging tag, and then tape it underneath and hide it under the bow. And there's that. That's completely done. Now I'm going to show you how I wrap ribbon around a package. So I've got my long piece of ribbon. You can like tuck it around both sides and see how much you need, but I just cut a really long piece normally. Then I fold it in half and crease it, and then put that little crease in the center of the box where I want it. And then I flip it over and pull the ribbon around each side. Then I cross them and pull them perpendicular to the first, it's still the same piece of ribbon, but to the first piece that I wrapped around. And then I tape that down right where I crossed them. And then on the front, I'm going to tie them into a knot. You can tie it in a bow. You can, if you want to just put like a regular bow on top of it instead of having curly ribbons hanging off, you can just tape them down and cut the excess ribbon off instead of tying them. But I'm tying mine in a knot, and then I'm going to curl the ribbons after I look at other ribbon I might want to use, and after the cat plays with the ribbons on the box. This is our other cat, Yana. She is Oko's sister, and they are both very curious, playful kittens. They're about 5 months old, and this one, she'll play with anything. She even takes the magnets off our refrigerator. But I thought it was cute, so I left it in there while I mess with this a little bit. I only left this part in here because the cat kept attacking the ribbons, and I just thought it was so cute and I didn't want to delete it. But I was going to make a little fluffy bow out of the ribbon, but I ended up giving up because the cat wouldn't leave it alone. And I kept having to like pull it away from her, and I just couldn't get it done. So I gave up here and just decided to go ahead and curl the ribbon. It's a super long piece because, like I said, I was going to make a bow with it, but decided not to. And I'm going to curl the little ribbon ends finally. That is already on the package. And next I'm going to take this ribbon and cut it in half-ish. I didn't really didn't hold it straight and measure it out. I just kind of folded it over and cut it. And then I'm going to tape these little pieces down around the knot, because I'm going to just stick a bow right on top of this. And like I said, this was just to show you how I like to wrap ribbon around the package or the gift. I would usually, if this was going to actually be under my tree or I was going to give this to someone else, I would put wrapping paper on the box before putting the ribbon on. It's just, I just don't like leaving these boxes unwrapped. I mean, the decorative ones can be cute, but unless I'm gifting them with like sweets in them, then I like to wrap them in paper because I think it just looks better. Now I just put just a regular little gift bow on top of it, and that's done. Here's the finished product of all the gifts I wrapped in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and stop by again. Thanks for watching.